Hey everyone, it's Jorik. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you are doing well and having a great day wherever you are in the world. For those of you that follow the channel, I talk about moving to and living in Portugal and Europe travel. You already know that. If you just found me, somehow maybe the algorithm popped up a video because that's what you're interested in, moving to or living in Portugal. Maybe it's just a vacation or you want to know about the latest Europe travel news. So that's what I do. If it interests you, please subscribe. I also want to let people know that if you're coming to Lisbon, I am doing walking tours of Lisbon, history tours, food tours. I can also talk relocation. On top of that, I'm also doing relocation consults. I've been doing calls starting in late 2021 with people looking to move and want some advice on the who, what, where, when, and whys, what to do, what to avoid along the way. So hopefully I can help some of you if you're looking to make Portugal a part of your future in the coming years. Now let's get to this video. This video is about Golden Visa. Those of you that might be interested, if you are looking at the opportunity in any type of country that offers this, usually we all go through the analysis if this makes sense for us or not. In Portugal, they've had the Golden Visa for over 10 years. So I just want to show what people have purchased to be able to obtain the Golden Visa. I want to go through some of the most utilized countries, meaning what people from which countries are coming to Portugal on behalf of the Golden Visa. And then I want to touch on at the end some of the problems that people are running into by getting the Golden Visa. So it's not necessarily as golden as what I'll say current people that are in the process were led to believe. People that have used it in the past, meaning they've already received permanent residency or citizenship, are sort of out of harm's way. But I'm going to get to that at the end. So Golden Visa. There are several ways that you can find your way into Portugal and maybe fast track your way to permanent residency or citizenship. The Golden Visa, you spend a certain amount on real estate, you make a capital transfer either into a fund, a government fund from Portugal, or you invest in arts and humanities, or you can create jobs. If you create 10 or more jobs, there's the opportunity to obtain a Golden Visa. So since the inception, it started in October of 2012, a total of 11,535 permits have been granted. And this information comes from CEF. As you probably are well aware, CEF handles the immigration concerns for Portugal. So this is right from them and was just compiled a couple of weeks ago. Those investing in property, that's been the number one reason that the Golden Visa has existed for probably as long as it has in Portugal. As you can see here, 10,593 permits have been granted for buying property in Portugal. Some of you that are really researching Golden Visa realize over a year ago, Lisbon, Porto, the Algarve was cut out of the Golden Visa from the real estate perspective. You can still live in Lisbon, Porto, or the Algarve if you're creating jobs, or you're making a capital transfer, and there's some other exceptions. But investment in property has been the biggest boom for raising money through this program for Portugal. Capital transfer, again, that's investing money in Portugal, government bond, or arts and humanities. There are a couple of other types of transfers that can be done. But over 10 years, 920 permits have been granted. And then lastly, job creation, which in reading several articles over the last few years, the government, I think, was hoping that there would be more people, that this Golden Visa would attract business owners or entrepreneurs to be able to help with jobs. Only 22 permits have been granted. So that doesn't mean 22 jobs. That just means 22 people who were able to bring in 10 or more jobs to be able to qualify for the Golden Visa, have been able to do so over a 10-year period. So that's not a lot in that area. Now I wanted to just touch on quickly the types of people or where people are moving from that are coming to Portugal that are taking advantage of the Golden Visa program. And I'm just sticking with countries that have at least 500 or more golden visa permits issued to people here in Portugal. So South Africa, 507. The United States, 537. I will just make a quick thing because I am an American. I think there's marketing and there's also a lot of blog posts and articles from newspapers, both in Portugal and the U.S., make you think that there's 50,000 people from the U.S. that have taken advantage of this. As you can see, 537. So not many over a 10-year period. You go up to Turkey, 546. Brazil, 1,168, and China, 5,247. So China by far has been the number one recipient or the number one seeker of the golden visa here in Portugal. And then, of course, to make up those other half for the 11,500, there are several countries that have a dozen, 100, 200, 10 along the way. I didn't want to go through that full list and bore you too much. I just wanted to show you the main places where people are coming from for the visa. But lastly, I want to touch on some of the issues that are going on. So a couple of things. I've touched on this in prior videos, and other YouTube creators have done this too. The government officials, from the Prime Minister on down, have mentioned that the golden visa days might be numbered. So whether it be 2023, 2025, the sun may be setting on this particular program. Now, the golden visa has to be renewed every 2 years until you get the opportunity, 5-year mark, then you're able to apply for permanent residency or citizenship. So once that's obtained, then you don't have to keep renewing. But until then, you do. So people that are already citizens via the golden visa or permanent residents have not had any issue. Many of them came here from 2012 to 2018, actually 2017. So they are already in the process to get one of those two, permanent residency or citizenship, or already have them. What we're finding out from news articles as well as CEF, they've stated that for much of 2022, they didn't allow any appointments for people that had this particular visa expiring on December 31st. So again, has to be renewed every 2 years for those people that aren't in the queue yet for permanent residency or haven't applied, haven't been here 5 years to apply for the citizenship. Either one of those, they're kind of stuck because Steph had also stated that they had over 2,000 permits that expired December 31st. And there is no appointments yet for any of those people to be able to get a renewal of that golden visa. So a couple of things with that to make sure that there's full disclosure. Many people that do the golden visa aren't in Portugal. So the renewal process would be remote anyway because the requirements to actually be here in Portugal for the golden visa is nil. You don't have to spend hardly any time in Portugal to take advantage of the golden visa. But it does impact everybody that is here on a golden visa, that is living here. And now, since December 31st, they're on an expired visa, which is starting to cause havoc here in January of 2023 in the making of this video for those that are trying to get to or from international airports. There are problems now with that, and that can also impact the residence card depending on when that's renewing as well. So that's creating a situation where there are people that have already spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in property or capital transfer or other ways to be able to get the golden visa. They're now looking at the opportunity of maybe they try to obtain the D7, which is process starts over again, or the digital nomad, which was just created last year along with a host of other European countries added this digital nomad visa as a way to kind of bridge the gap, or maybe that might be the new way to stay in Portugal and make sure all the documents are legal. The difficulty is CEF is changing in 2023 to a new agency, and as that transition takes place, there's still no remedy here for those people that have these expired visas. It should be noted that after Brexit, there were some promises made to Brits who were here that were supposed to get their integration into Portugal done much faster. And 2 years after that, thousands are still waiting. You have, I believe, at last count in November, over 40,000 Ukrainians that have come here because of what's going on in their country, and they've been looking for temporary accommodations as well as residency of some sort. So CEF overloaded, that's true, but I think they're being very selective, and I think in some cases the people that have paid the most to be able to get this fast track to citizenship or permanent residency have not necessarily benefited from that payment. So it's sort of a high risk, low reward at this moment. So I'm hoping that I can report to people that are still looking to do the golden visa or start that process before you're coming to Portugal. Hopefully there's some good news in 2023, but I just wanted to make sure that people had updated and accurate information on this, because my gut tells me that in the coming years this is going to go away. And part of the way it might go away is if the government agency CEF is restricting renewal appointments and people lose their golden visas on renewals, well then there's less to renew. And it also is a way to kind of prohibit or discourage, more aptly, people from looking at this as an option moving forward, especially if the country's going to consider discontinuing it. So anyway, that's not necessarily a happy video for the new year, but I wanted to get this information out to you because this is the year that with New Year's resolutions, you're thinking about Portugal, and this is part of the thing that you have to do kind of the cost benefit of to see if it makes sense versus all the other options and visas to get here. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch the channel, and enjoy your travels.